this is Allie Edwards, and in this video I want to show you how I played around with the Silkscreen and Stencil bundle for December Daily 2018. You can see that I decided to try laying the silkscreen down on top of one of my story kit envelopes. So I'm putting a little bit of paint on there. These are sticky on the back, but they're not meant to stick down forever and ever. I found it a little hard to peel it off when I was peeling it off the plastic, but overall I would say it worked really well. You can use just a little piece of cardstock or a card. I used the edge of a chipboard to go ahead and lay that or apply the paint on top of the silkscreen. I'm going to do another one here for you that is on top of a plastic sheet. This is from Graphics, and I'll link that for you below. You can make your own transparencies, make your own transparent pages. This one is just cut to 6x8. I'm using some paint from my shop. There's a Willamette, that's the green. There's a red, that's Pendleton. You can also use different kinds of acrylic paints. That's just what I am showing you today. Again, there is the edge of the card that you're basically just scraping it over the top. Definitely harder to peel off on this plastic sheet. I feel like if you practiced a few times, then it would get better. My first try, which I filmed for you here, which wasn't totally awesome, but I think that the idea of it could totally work. And I do it a couple other times that I'll show you as well. I wanted to do another one on top of one of the story kit envelopes. If you subscribe to my monthly story subscription, these are the envelopes that used to come in. The ones we have now are just a little bit bigger, but they're great for putting inside a 6x8 album. And so I'm going ahead and just putting the paint right on top of the silkscreen there and then pulling it back off. I felt like that one worked really well. In terms of cleaning on those, I just go ahead and wash them with warm water and then use a paper towel or a washcloth, a dry washcloth, to dry them off. That's all I do for both the stencils and the silkscreens. So moving on, next up I wanted to play with the stencils, and I wanted to use some texture paste. So I actually went to Michael's, bought some texture paste. This is from Ranger. I'll also link it below. And I am just applying it with a foam brush. After I read a little bit more about working with texture paste, it looks like people are doing something more similar to what I did with the silkscreens, where you're using something to scrape it. But this gave me even more texture, which is really cool when it dries. It has a literal dimensional texture that you can feel on there, which is cooler, I think, than paint. Paint would also work, but sometimes I find with the stencils that the paint seeps underneath them, and this seemed to stick a little bit more because the paint itself is stickier. I definitely worked a lot slower. This is a sped up version, obviously, of the recording. Otherwise, it would take a lot longer. I worked a lot slower. I wasn't dabbing things really hard to get the paint on there, especially on that first tag that I did. I just went really slow and made sure that I had kind of an excess amount of texture on there. Next up, I am placing the same, using the same stencil, the star stencil, on top of one of the large cork numbers. These are available, at least right now they're still available for the December daily order period. And I'm doing the same thing. Again, this is sped up, so I did go quite a bit slower because I really am trying to fill in that space there. As always with any of this kind of stuff, it can be messy and it is never perfect. And I think that that's part of the fun of working with some of these products. And I think for me, it's why I do most of it in December daily. A lot of the other times of the year, I'm much cleaner, doing things in a very structured, graphic way. But I really like playing during December daily, and these products give me the opportunity to play a little bit more. Next up, I wanted to just use the tree stencil with the texture paste again, and I did it on top of a piece of pattern paper from the main kit. I just cut it down from 6x8 to a 3x4 card and went ahead and left it on there. While that stuff was drying, I went ahead and I wanted to try getting some holes into these envelopes so that they could go directly into my album. I had less luck with my 6-hole punch felt like it was just too thick. So I'm using a power punch, which is the other go-to thing that I use if something is too thick, and that power punch can go through all kinds of stuff and makes it great for being able to just put it right inside the album like that, where that envelope can hold ephemera, can hold cards, it could hold whatever I wanted in there. So I went ahead and punched holes in both of those. I just lay the one of the page protectors on top, so I have holes matching in the same spot. That gives me a really quick and easy guide. On my blog post today, you can see in-use images too. I took some pictures at the end. After that tree, the textured tree dried, I took some of the sequins, which are part of a star sequin bundle. There's sequins, there's circle sequins, there's little stars, and there are also some acrylic stars included in that one, and I'm just putting them on top of the tree to decorate it. I'm also using a glue pen. I think that's a Martha Stewart glue pen, which works really well for small little pieces like that. Again, I don't do a ton of stuff that's really detailed like this, but this is the project where I enjoy doing that kind of stuff. And part of the reason why I do foundation pages often is to do this kind of work in advance so that I'm not doing all of it during December. I'll probably use some of the things that I've shown today in my album. I may not use all of them. Mainly, I just want to give you some ideas for being able to work with these products that we are making available to you during the order selection period. I also went ahead and tried the plastic again. I wanted to cut a larger piece of plastic that was to the same size of the page protector so that it could be a page in there. This particular Silkscreen there, I've washed a bunch of times now. I probably did it 6 or 7 times just to see if I could get it better each time. You definitely want to have it laid down all the way. Have a baby wipe or something next to you if the paint gets onto the plastic. Another tip that I had is keep the back plastic on until you're ready to put it in your album. That will keep it from getting dirty on the other side. I also wanted to just do one on a large 4x8 tag. Again, really simple. I wanted to show the difference between paper and plastic. Definitely peels up a lot easier on paper than it does on plastic, so just something to keep in mind as you play. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you have additional questions, please let me know below.